Guess who's back? It's the new unseen Viking fan, and I told you I would be coming with a video, and I was going to wait to the end of the season to do it. It's almost near the end of the season, but I just couldn't help it. These Packer fans, JLB Sports, and Packers 96 world champs, they just, either they're blind, deaf, dumb, have a serious emotional distress about the success of this man that you look on the video screen, and they refuse to admit to truth. So I'm going to call this video Actual Fact Pack. Actual Fact Pack. Here's the facts. That man that you see right now, number 4, Pro Bowl season, 33 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. Led his team, the Minnesota Vikings, to the NFC Championship, and he's one game away from the Super Bowl. Okay? Pro Bowl year, arguably the best season at 40 years old, statistically as a pro. Okay? Admit, JLB Sports, especially you. Admit you were wrong. First you said he'd make the Vikings a worse team. Then you said he'd break down at the end of the year. Still waiting on him to break down? You tried to find that little situation that, the media talked about with him having with Brad Childress, and that, he was causing problems because Brad wanted to run the ball and he wanted to throw the ball, and it's about me, 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 me. You see him there talking to the young guy, giving the young guy some pointers and some enthusiasm. You see him playing around with his teammates right there. This guy loves the game of football. He loves the game of football. And you're looking for anything that you can to down this guy. I'm originally and truly a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. But bigger than a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, I'm a football fan. And that man that you see on the screen plays the game of football purely for the passion of it. Okay? Purely for the passion of it. And when he decided he was going to retire, I'm not going to retire. I'm going to retire, I'm not going to retire. It was clear he had problems with management. He had begged management to interview Steve Mariucci. They chose not to. He tried to get Randy Moss to get on the Packers, and they said, well, Randy can't run anymore. And they didn't listen to Brett then. And so, the Belichick was smart enough to go out and get Randy Moss, and Randy Moss took them to a Super Bowl and had a record-setting year that year. Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy, in my humble opinion, are bumbling idiots. Okay? They got rid of this guy, and this is actual fact, Pack. He stuck it to them twice this year. He outplayed them both times, outplayed Aaron Rodgers both times in head-to-head competition, okay? He outplayed him statistically for the year, okay? I know you guys are in love with Aaron Rodgers and you want him to be the guy and this, that, and the other, but he's not going to be the guy until he can bring the Packers into a championship team. Now, you're going to say, well, the Vikings got such a better team. Do they really? They got Adrian Peterson and all these young weapons and a better defense. Well, the fact of the matter is Green Bay had a better defense than the Vikings did this year. Green Bay had better receivers than the Vikings did. They had 2,000-yard receivers, okay? And Adrian Peterson had a solid year, but he didn't have an Adrian Peterson type year. Ryan Grant rushed for almost as many yards as Adrian Peterson. I believe Adrian Peterson had 1,300-something and Ryan Grant had 1,200-something. So the teams, as far as talent-wise on paper, are very comparable. Very comparable. You guys had the Defensive Player of the Year, at cornerback, Woodson. Defensive Player of the Year. Had some very solid defensive players. You had another Pro Bowl safety. Had an excellent defense, a better defense than the Vikings did this year. 2,000-yard receivers this year and a 1,200-yard rusher, okay? But Brett Favre, at the age of 40, still put up better stats. How you say it, JLB Sports? He put up better numbers than Rodgers. I got so pumped when I saw Brett Favre put up better numbers than Rodgers. But bigger than that, Brett Favre is still playing, and you Packer fans are sitting at home watching him and hating on him. He's still playing. That's a fact, Pack. He's playing to go to the Super Bowl. He beat you guys twice. He's playing. He's right where they expected him to be. He proved everybody wrong. Dallas came into Minnesota. Oh, they're the hottest team in the NFL, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that, and they can't, they can't stop Tony Romo, and DeMarcus Ware is going to be all over. The pass rush is going to be too much for Favre. He's going to throw interceptions. He's going to cost them late in the season. He's going to cost the Vikings. He's going to screw the. When is that going to happen, y'all? You guys are still holding your nuts, and we're one game away from the Super Bowl. This guy threw 4 passes against Dallas and made them look silly. Threw 4 touchdown passes against them. He looked unbeatable against Dallas. And remember, Dallas is the team that gave New Orleans its first loss. And they Dallas beat New Orleans in New Orleans. Minnesota manhandled Dallas. It was a total team effort, I agree, but you guys can't take away from the 4 touchdowns that number 4 threw. You can't take away from that. You can't ignore that. Yeah, the defense played great. So here's what I will predict will happen. I predict that Brett Favre and the Minnesota Vikings will go into New Orleans. And I believe that they'll win. And for them to win, this is what has to happen. I believe Adrian Peterson finally has a breakout game. Minnesota is susceptible against the run. Dallas ran all over him and beat him. My team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, ran all over him and beat him. Carolina ran all over him and beat him. So I believe that they can be beat by the run. I don't think you can get into a shootout with Drew Brees. But Brett Favre is up for it if necessary. I just believe that this will be Adrian Peterson's final breakout game of the damn season. And if he doesn't fumble the ball, Minnesota should win and go on to the Super Bowl. But even if Minnesota loses, Brett Favre has had a successful season to go with his Hall of Fame career. Now, you can claim how much in love you are with Aaron Rodgers. I believe Aaron Rodgers is a system quarterback. I don't believe he's that guy with the killer instinct that's going to take the Packers deep into the playoffs. I don't think he's that guy. Okay? And time will tell, and this is all speculation, and we can speculate. I think I'm in a better position to speculate because I've been right about Brett Favre all year, and you guys have been wrong, completely wrong about Brett Favre all year. I mean, I want to see which one of you guys are going to be man enough to eat crow and say, you know what, we were wrong. We were wrong about him making the Vikings worse. We were wrong about him, faltering late in the season. We were wrong about, Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than him and this, that, and the other. You guys may never admit that, but I really don't care. You can sit here and continue to hate on this guy and watch him continue to win. The fact of the matter is Green Bay had a pretty good team this year, had a playoff team this year. Excellent defense, one of the tops in the league. As I said, Aaron Rodgers had all the weapons and everything at his disposal. And the fact of the matter is he's sitting home right now, and number 4 is doing what you're watching him do right now. He's still playing, and still playing with the enthusiasm of a kid. Okay, I'm a football fan, and that's why I became a new Minnesota Vikings fan this year, because I love football. Okay, you've seen repeatedly these teams, the ownership, they don't have loyalty towards the players. You've seen Jerry Rice go to another team and play for another team. You've seen Joe Montana go to another team and play for another team at the end of his career. Same thing with Emmitt Smith, Ronnie Lott, and the list goes on and on and on. Why are you so angry at Brett Favre? He's the only one out of the ones that I just mentioned who played for another team and is actually doing better. And the team that he's playing for has become better than all of the other players that I mentioned. None of those other players that I mentioned, with the exception of maybe Jerry Rice with the Raiders, had a chance of winning a championship. But when you say Jerry Rice, you literally say, when you say Jerry Rice, Brett Favre, Jim Brown, you're talking about not only the best players at their position of all time, but maybe the best football players of all time. And I love football. So why don't you guys, if you claim to love football, stop holding your nuts on number 4, because at the end of the day, number 4 just might win a Super Bowl. Then who's going to look stupid at that point? Right now, Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy, he's already handed you guys' ass twice. So you guys already look stupid. And every week that you hold your nuts on them, you even look more and more stupid. I haven't seen a video lately from you, JLB Sports. Please, man up. You're waiting and hoping that Brett Favre will lose so you can make another video. But man up and make a video regardless. You were wrong. Admit it. The whole world has been wrong. Brett Favre, the greatest quarterback, perhaps the greatest football player ever.